We have to now clean up the parts of the rear wheel. That's what's happening on this episode of Featherstone Bicycles. Just like the front wheel, we're going to have a little bit of water in here. I've got a little soap in here for soaking the spokes before I wipe them off with the steel wool. But we're going to use the wire wheel on the drill. I'm going to take apart the rear axle hub now. I'm pretty sure, because of the freewheel, that we've got a situation where the axle is sticking out farther on the drive side than it is on the other side. So this is the lock nut here. This is a spacer, but it's also acting as the lock nut. I'm going to measure how far out we are in millimeters. Non-drive side is just shy of 2 centimeters, so that would be 19 millimeters. Drive side is sticking out about 24. Cone nut is a 15 millimeter cone wrench, and the lock nut is 16 millimeter. And nice, that comes off nicely. Then there's should be a slotted washer for that slot in the axle there. And then I put a 15 on this side and a 15 on this side. And I start to undo that cone, which should come off pretty easy. If it was tight, we'd have a rotation problem on that wheel, obviously. Okay, and I see we have loose ball bearings in there. Oh, they're coming out the bottom, of course. And there's no grease in there. There is zero grease in there. Makes me wonder. I mean, these ball bearings are clean. I wonder how this thing was ever turning. There might have been a little bit of grease in there, but there isn't now. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there should be 8 on the other side. Wait a minute, I lied. There's 9. So there's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I'm suspecting there's not any grease on the other side. Very little, very little. All right, there's our hub. I don't take the dust cap off because I've done it in the past. You end up damaging it more than the amount of access you're going to get to clean it out. So there was some grease on the middle of the axle. I never really have quite understood what the logic here is. I know a lot of people put grease on here. This part should not be hitting metal against metal in the rotation within the hub. So I guess a case could be made that you would put grease on here to keep it from rusting, but there's no point in putting grease on here to make a smooth operation. There is a point to putting grease where the ball bearings go. And so the fact that there was grease on here but not grease in the races and around the balls is a mystery. Anyway, I'm going to put this on the larger side of the vise, the Park Tool axle tool. Get my 15 millimeter on there, my 16 on here, and break that spacer lock washer. Oh, you know what? I was wrong. That is actually just a spacer, and then there was a separate lock washer. They fooled me. There's the washer, and here's the cone nut. We're going to take a little break here to try a little DIY experiment. I have a can of PB Blaster here that has quite a bit of fluid left in it, but the aerosol is all gone. I know the bike shop owner that I talked about in the bonus episode used to just poke a hole in the bottom and a hole at the top and drain it out and put it in another, spray bottle container. But I just looked at a forum when I Googled how to do this, or the right way to do this, without killing myself or hurting myself. And one of the responders, commentators, said, check out this video. So I did, and the person said that you just take a top off, whether it's that top or any top, and get your air compressor, which I have the little handy dandy one here, hold that down and fill it up with air. Let's see if this works. This is a nozzle that came with the air compressor, and it's pretty narrow at the it tapers down to a small point, so it should be just the same size as this. And I'm going to hold it down and then turn it on. You didn't have it on very long to recharge it. It's not easy to push down, I can tell you that. And obviously you don't want to put it in, recharge it so much that it blows the can up. So don't try this at home, kids. Oh my God, it worked. It worked. All right. If you hurt yourselves, don't blame me. cleaned up in the parts washer and used a little Scotch-Brite pad on the spokes within the hot water. So all we need to do is get everything through the wire wheel. To put this back together, it's going to take a little bit of trial and error. Let's see here. Are these the same? This is 6 centimeters. Yes. So both the drive side and the non-drive side are the same length, so we're going to have to fudge with it a little to get our 19 millimeters and 24 millimeters, just like we did on the front axle, to get it symmetrical. So we will put some grease in here, since there wasn't much, if any, before. Should be riding a lot nicer, a lot smoother. Okay. And I'll go ahead and put those ball bearings in on the other side. Okay. Now, I've determined that this is going to be the non-drive side, just because that's the way I've got it laid out here. Put a little bit of grease on this cone. Plop that in there. Turn it over. It's a little tricky because you have to hold it in place on the other side. They don't have to be, perfect. They can be probably plus or minus 1 or maybe 2 millimeters on either side. You just got to have them be able to get through the dropouts on the axle, on the dropouts on the frame. All right, so that spacer goes in. And I can tell that we are way off because we've got a whole bunch of room on the non-drive side and not a lot of room on this side up. But you know what I can do? I knew the non-drive side was 19 millimeters. So, and I know that comes out from the lock washer, lock nut. So that's still a ways to go there. That's right about there. So now I've got to back, I can back the washer up. Cone wrenches. I just need to get it out of that hub enough to get my fingers around it to back it off. Let's see how that does without moving this lock nut. Okay, that looks good there. Plop this down. Now, holding that steady, I can bring this in. And then that is just about 24. But if you recall, when we did the first wheel, I came up with this method of getting the play just right by putting it on the vise. So right now we're going to put our 15, we're going to put this end on the vise. We've got our 16 here. We're going to tighten that down. So now if everything goes right, we'll be able to hear that play. I don't hear any play at all right now. And this is not the best. Probably could be backed off just a tad. I got a little bit of tiny play. We'll tighten her up from here and then see how it goes. That's good. It's a good method. So now we can put the spacer back on. Oh, also wanted to mention, while I was cleaning this up, another 82. So this may have been the third place where I saw it. So I know for sure we've got three places. We've got the wheels, we have the axle in the back, and the back of the freewheel. I'm gonna do a little bit more research, maybe before the next episode, and see if I can figure this one out. That's it for this one. Next week, which will be the last episode before the finale, when we put it all back together, we're going to work on the fenders, put the rear wheel back together, and also make sure the lights work and that they're all cleaned up and everything. Thanks for sticking with me, and I hope to see you next time on Featherstone Bicycles.